I am here at an airport doing this because I have three important points I want to bring up today. And there are 3 points, honestly, that I think get overlooked quite a bit. So here we go. And as soon as I get 3 people on here, we are going to start. So I didn't want to let one day of Holy Week go by where we didn't discuss what actually happened. Hey, Heidi, how you doing? So as soon as we get 3 people on here, we're going to go for it. There's 3 different things that I wanted to discuss. 2 of them that are kind of overlooked, I think. So we'll see. Oh, here's the airport. So Heidi, do you hear all that announcement?
If you're visiting, we hope you enjoy your time in the land of the.
Hey, Eva. Good morning, my friends. Becky, good morning. Okay, so I'm going to get on with it because we have 3 people. Actually, I think we have 4. No, Heidi, Eva, Becky. Okay, awesome. Here we go. Thank you, Heidi. So there's 3 important things that I wanted to highlight that happened on Maundy Thursday. The first one was the fact that the washing of the feet, because remember, Maundy Thursday is the celebration of Passover during Holy Week. And so this was the day that, um, think it through here with me for a minute. Jesus said to his disciples, I have anxiously awaited the moment I could celebrate this with you. Now, he's also omniscient. He knows what's about to happen, right? How do you anxiously await this event and be able to put on the shelf what's going to happen later that night? He's going to be betrayed. Well, he's already been betrayed, but he's going to physically be arrested. So, how do you enjoy this moment fully, knowing what's about to happen? Anyway, that's something only Jesus could have done, I think. So, that's not actually one of the points I wanted to bring up. But Jesus is starting the Last Supper. Well, hello, my friend. How are you doing from Indonesia? I have been there. Beautiful, beautiful country. So, anyway, so the first point I wanted to bring up, we're going to talk about Maundy Thursday and what happened on that day. Sorry, I'm in an airport. So we'll hear some announcements here and there. But the first thing I wanted to bring up was the lowliest job in a household. So the lowliest job in a household was the washing of the feet. So people would come in and they would be visiting the home, and the owner of the home would have the lowliest servant wash their feet because they wore sandals, and so their feet would get dirty and dusty. And so that they wouldn't track it in, and for the comfort of the guest, they would have their lowliest servant wash their feet. So that is why, if you really allow yourself to think through that moment, that's why it was so shocking to the disciples that Jesus wanted to wash their feet. It meant it's the picture of servant leadership, right? Well, thank you, my friend from Indonesia. So that's the first thing. And then remember, one of the biggest moments in that scene is where he washes Judas's feet, knowing what Judas has already done and what he's about to do. I put a video up already where I pose a question to you. So I'd really like you to go to that video here on YouTube, but on all the socials, Clapper, TikTok, Instagram, and answer that question on whatever your favorite social is. So I want to go to the next point that I want to highlight. The next point that I want to highlight is the institution of communion. So Jesus breaks the bread and says, "This is my body that is broken for you. And this is the cup that is the blood that will be poured out for you." And then he says something that I don't hear a lot of pastors talk about. He says, "Every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, think of me. Think of what I've done. Think of what has happened." Bread and wine were two elements that were at almost every table, almost every meal. They would drink wine and eat bread. So, is it possible that I don't want to say that we take away anything that of the importance of doing it communally together in a church setting? I think that's beautiful, and I think it makes us really deeply consider what Jesus did. But I think it's also very important to realize that I think Jesus was saying, every single time you eat this, you eat bread, every single time you drink something, think about me. Think about what I did. Think about what this means. Every single time. And the last point I want to bring up, and then I would love to hear from you all. The last thing I'd like to bring up is the Garden of Gethsemane. I heard a pastor that I'm very close to um, give a sermon on the Garden of Gethsemane. And I was kind of saddened by what he said, and I want to bring it to you. So, Jesus and his disciples go to the garden, and he says to a few of them, "Stay here. Don't, you know, I am overwhelmed to the point of death. So don't go anywhere. Pray for me." Now, when he said he was overwhelmed to the point of death, what do you think he was saying? So let's take a moment here before you answer. And if you're already answering, that's fine. But here where that pastor kind of went wrong that I was listening to. He said that Jesus was overwhelmed by the physical stuff that he was going to go through on the cross. That would mean fear. And the Bible is clear that we are not to fear. In fact, it says it 365 times. And so I know Jesus wasn't fearful. When you look at that word overwhelmed, it means something, and it's not fear. So, what do you guys think? I'm presenting it to you. I'm going to stay quiet for a minute. Well, you know me, I'm going to chitter chatter while you guys type. What do you think Jesus meant by overwhelmed? When we're done, I'll tell you what that word translates to from the Greek. And it makes complete sense. So if we're not supposed to fear, what was Jesus saying? I am overwhelmed to the point of, what do you think? What do you think Jesus was overwhelmed? What does that word overwhelmed mean? What do you think? Okay, I'm not seeing any answers coming this way. So I will say that when you look up the word overwhelmed in its context in the Greek, it means saddened. That makes sense. Jesus was saddened. And there's many things he could be saddened about, right?
Once
He
again,
could
folks, if you're
be
going to Phoenix with us today here at gate number 810, we're still looking for about
he
eight
could be
passengers to check in. That carry-on is
saddened
complimentary
by
to your
what he
final
knows is going
destination.
to happen.
If
He
you're
could be
interested in
saddened
doing
by
so,
the
come back
betrayal
to
of
the Simpson or
one of the
Gate 12
12. He could be saddened for what he knows the 12 are going to go through. He could be saddened by pretty much 11 of the 12 um, not wanting to be seen with him or being known by him. He could be saddened by the state of the world. He could be saddened that his own creation is about to do this. But here's something I also want you to think about. We'll go into it more tomorrow, but one thing I think Jesus was saddened by is that for the first time in eternity, there is going to be a moment when Jesus is separated from the Father, and that's never happened. Jesus has always existed, and as physically awful as the cross was, I think the worst moment of the cross was when the Father had to turn his face from Jesus. So, um, yeah, that's that's what it meant when Jesus said he was saddened, he was overwhelmed. Um, so, questions, comments, anything that you all want to bring to the forefront? It's kind of odd being here at an airport and not being able to be private in my little office at my little house. But anyway, if there's any questions, comments, anything you would like to talk through, I'd be happy to do that. Um, Today's a heavy day in not as heavy as tomorrow, but today is a heavy day. And so it's an important day to start thinking about the joy that Jesus could have at the Last Supper, putting what's going to happen on the shelf. And then he takes off the shelf at the Garden of Gethsemane and starts dealing with it. And it helps us understand what we should do when we're under that kind of sorrow. Go to the Father, right? Do what he did. Pour our heart out to the Father. Um, because we do not serve a high priest who cannot sympathize with our every sorrow. Jesus can. We serve a high priest who is amazing and who knows every single solitary thing that we're going to go through. And in fact, when we hurt, he hurts. How did my Passover dinner go? Um, well, with a 9-week-old, it was a disaster, but it was fun at the same time. Ayla was very touched that we did that for her. I made matzo ball soup for the first time and tried it for the first time. I'd never had it, and I thought it was pretty good. And made her grandmother's favorite carrots, and we really had fun. Ayla was upstairs with the baby for most of the ceremony part. None of us knew the ceremony part, so well, all sorts of things are happening at the airport here. So I pretty probably better go. But please keep in mind, I am putting up 3 videos today. One is already up about the things that we talked about. And if you have other questions that pop up that you consider once you start working through what happened on Maundy Thursday, please come into the videos on any of the socials that you prefer. Here on YouTube, Instagram, Clapper, and TikTok. The videos are going up on all of those things. So let me know if you have any questions, any things that you want to just discuss, and we can do it in the comments on those videos. So my friends, I will be here tomorrow morning, and I love you all very, very much. And God's got this.